Hey, fellow patriots, just a few words about something that's been going on and has really put a damper on freedom of speech here in the United States. There's an organization called Worldview Weekend. It's a ministry, and part of their ministry has been going around and putting on seminars or conferences about the effects of Islam when Islam starts immigrating into and building communities in non-Islamic countries. And they have been doing these presentations around the country for a while now. And here a couple of weeks ago, they had five of them scheduled, and the Southern Poverty Law Center got a bunch of activists together, and they got a bunch of people. I understand it was around 58, 59 people, something like that, but they got people to make telephone calls to the hotels where these conferences were going to be presented. And the pressure that those few phone calls put on the hotel managers caused the managers to cancel the contracts they had with Worldview Weekend and would not allow them to come in and present their conference because they were afraid of the backlash of Muslim influence on their business, etc., etc., if they allowed this Worldview Weekend to come in and present a program on what happens to countries that allow Muslims to come in and just freely do their thing within a culture that is not conducive and not compatible with Islamic beliefs, especially the Sharia law part of it. So a few people shut down the freedom of speech for Worldview Weekend. And what we have now is a one-sided affair where one side gets to dictate and use political pressure and things like that to shut down the freedom of speech of the other side. Well, I just want to let you know that there are some events going on around the country. They've been going on for a while, just like World View Weekend. And this is organization is CLAW, C-L-A-W. It's all a part of the LGBT alphabet movement, BT, X, Y, Z, PQR, and TUV, and all the rest of them. And they get into hotels and they present seminars and presentations and things. And then they get in these, and they take the whole hotel over. And the main reason for that is because some of the things that they do on these weekends are absolutely horrendous. For example, there's one coming up in Cleveland, Ohio in the month of April. I think April 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, something like that, those 4 days, from Thursday through Sunday. And there's a lot of events, dozens and dozens of seminars and events that are going on during the weekend, but one of them in particular I want to tell you about. It's called SCAT, Beyond Brown. That is the title of the event, SCAT Beyond Brown. And I had no idea what it was, but a friend of mine, David Arthur, who just happens to have lived in the LGBT community for 30 years. For 30 years, he played the role of a woman. He thought he should have been a woman instead of a man, and he was trapped in that style for 30 years until he turned his life over to Jesus, and now he is doing what he can to shed light on that movement. Well, what SCAT is where a bunch of men get together. Basically, it's men. Most of this is homosexual activity. Men get together and they get sexual gratification from defecating on each other, and then maybe rub it around, smooth it around, paint pictures with it. Some of them actually eat it. It's pretty disgusting. I told you it was disgusting. But anyway, this is a health hazard. Can you imagine the next guest that checks into and goes to a conference in that room where that seminar was put on, or the next guest that checks into a room where some of those seminar attendees go and practice what they just saw happen in the seminar in their private, in their guest rooms, and then the next day a family with 3 children checks into that room after what had gone on the day before. Do you think that those rooms are being sanitized well enough to overcome something like that? Well, this thing's getting a little long. I don't want it to go beyond 6 minutes, but I just want to tell you, we ought to find a way. If 50-something people can close down the truth about what Islam is doing to America, there ought to be enough of us to do something to expose the debauchery of what the CLAW people are doing and the health hazard they present to our society. So just read the rest of the emails that are sent out on this, and just do what your heart leads you to do. Let's fight back. We'll never win if we don't fight back. Have a good day.